Right. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to the June edition of the HOA Open Village meeting. We're holding it here in Kahidi, which is the first for us, and we're very excited to be here. It's great to see everybody in person. We've missed not being able to hold these HOA meetings face to face. Our most recent meeting that we held was in May at the Tellico Village Community Church, and it had been 490 days since we last gathered there in person. So it's great to be back here seeing people face to face and having these meetings. So why are we holding this meeting here in Kahidi? Well, first of all, one of the things that the HOA is very committed to is engaging the residents of Kahidi in the HOA. You all are part of Tellico Village, and we want to do more if we can to help ensure that there's good participation and you're getting the level of support that you need and want from the HOA. The other reason why we're here is that the theme of today's meeting is the state of Monroe County. What better place to hold a meeting than here at this wonderful new facility? So, a quick update. Despite the challenges of staying safe during all the periods of COVID, your HOA remained busy trying to keep you engaged, informed, and heard during these trying times. You may recall that during this period of time, we reached out to you to hold remote online webinars and Zoom broadcast of the POA Candidates Forum back in the fall, and the annual State of the Village meeting with the village leadership. In addition, the HOA has published several special editions of the HOA newsletter, The Voice, providing you critical information about the 2020 census, as well as the 2020 election. We also held several game and fun activities online for the first time. Well, like the cicadas, we're now re-emerging after a long period of isolation and social distancing. And for some good news, monthly socials are back with no signups required, and we're emphasizing fun and socializing. We'll have live music at all our events. Our president, Ken Lickey, will talk more about that in a second. You may notice that for the first time, we are calling this meeting an open village meeting. The reason why we're doing that is the HOA board decided that while historically these meetings were for all HOA members only, we felt that the information we're providing is important to all villagers and not just members. So as a result of that decision, starting with the session that we held in May with the Loudoun County update, and going forward, all future meetings of this type will be open to all Tellico Village residents, whether you're a member or not of the HOA. Now, having said that, for those of you non-members, we hope that you would consider investing the enormous sum of $10 per household, okay, for your annual dues to join the HOA. It will give you full membership privileges. You can sign up online on Tellico Life, and we have membership information available outside the door here for you today. While we're a volunteer organization, your membership dues help to support holding events like this. It also allows us to put on first-class social events and keep you informed through the HOA newsletter, The Voice. In addition, the dues enable us to promote strong advocacy programs for those issues that are important to the village. So please, give serious consideration to joining up. Ken Lickey will give you more information on this in a few minutes. Now, before we begin the formal part of the agenda, I want to go through just a couple of real quick points. Okay, did I already have that slide up? Oh, no, next one. Okay. Today's meeting is being recorded and streamed live on Tellico Village Broadcasting. And the meeting will be available for playback at the HOA website as well as at the Tellico Village Broadcasting YouTube channel. However, it's come to my attention that many of you may not be aware that all of the HOA Open Village meetings are streamed live over Tellico Village Broadcasting and are recorded. It's on the YouTube channel, and you can go in at any time and go back. You can watch them live as they're occurring, and you can go back and review previous meetings later on. If you're unable to attend in person, you can watch from the comfort of your home or wherever you are with any personal device, such as a desktop, laptop, iPad, tablets, smartphones, and smart TV. Any media device with an internet connection. Now, this is not the same as watching it on your TV on channel 3 or 193 with Spectrum Cable. You lucky people, you're done with all of that, right? And you got this now new service with this high-speed internet, and I can tell you this right now, being a bit of a techie guy, I am extremely jealous. I can't wait till it gets installed up in Tanasi Hills where I live. So watching it on that new internet service would be great and be very clear, crisp, and we shouldn't be any issues as far as viewing it. You can find a link to any of the HOA sessions on the HOA website, in Teleco Life on the calendar, and the TVB YouTube channel. If you can't remember what the link is, all you got to do is just go to your search function, go to Google, and type in Teleco Village YouTube channel, and it'll take you there. You just click on it, and away you go. Another nice thing about the TVB YouTube channel is that you can watch many of the other major village meetings like the POA and some of the other important committee meetings. And there are some fantastic videos out there about life in and around Teleco Village. So if you haven't done so, please check it out. Okay, on to today's agenda. Sorry, should pay attention to my notes here. That's actually the webpage, the TVB webpage, all right? And actually, I'll try to point to it here. If you see the one here, that's actually the session for the Loudoun County, and this is actually the POA meeting. So you can go out there, just click on that, and you can watch it. All right, so today's agenda, the theme is the state of Monroe County. While most of Teleco Village resides in Loudoun County, an equally important part of the village residents live here in Kahiti in Monroe County. As I said earlier, the HOA represents you as well. We feel it's extremely important and equally important to keep you up to date on what's going on around the village as well as the county that you live in. Earlier this year, we did an online webinar due to COVID of the state of the village. We got the perspective from the village leadership on the major happenings in the village, as well as plans looking forward and how the village is responding to the COVID epidemic. About a month ago, we turned our attention to Loudoun County and had several of the leadership from Loudoun County and had a similar session as we're having today, on the updates of what's going on in that county. So, now it's your turn. We are very pleased and honored to have many of the Monroe County leadership here today with us, tell you what's going on, as well as our state representative from Nashville. Ken Lickey will lead off the discussion today, give you a little bit more background on what's happening with the HOA, and then that'll be followed by the mayor of Monroe County, Mitch Ingram, and then the county sheriff has some great things to tell you about programs that they have in place and what's going on there, Tommy Jones. And then Paulette Sumi is our commissioner from the 4th District, and she'll tell you what's happening from a commissioner standpoint. And then we'll close it off with the view from Nashville from Representative Lowell Russell. Now, just briefly, how's this meeting going to run? Well, each speaker is going to have about 10 to 15 minutes to give their update. Now, as we were preparing for this session, the HOA suggested some topics to all of the speakers. However, the topics that they decided to choose and talk on were their own final decisions. During their actual presentations, no questions will be taken. However, there will be a Q&A session after all the presentations are complete. And then finally, at the end of today, at the end of this meeting, you'll have the opportunity to meet and greet all of our presenters out in the pavilion. I think we're actually providing some cookies. And then there's this wonderful new grill over there where you can get just about any beverage of your choice. However, we pay for the cookies, the beverages are on you. All right. When we do the Q&A session, what we'll ask is that you just queue up behind this microphone here to ask your questions, and when you come forward, someone will just ask you to ask your question at that particular time. Now, some of the things that we really want to be careful of here and be mindful of is that this open village meeting is to educate, not to debate, all right? The speakers have been given their have been asked to give their latest updates about what's going on in the county that are important to the residents of Kahiti. As each speaker's time is limited, we've asked that they refrain from discussing in detail any complex or open policy positions or controversial issues that are currently being debated. There are other forums for that. We ask that any questions that you all ask do not require complex answers, and that they're focused on fact validation and clarification from the presenters that you hear today. All right, now before we move on to our speakers, I think it's very appropriate that I recognize a couple of folks on the HOA board that have made a huge contribution to today's events. Linda Garza and Chris Sanders. They both worked very hard in attracting and working with our speakers to ensure that hopefully we'll have a very informative session here today. Chris couldn't be with us tonight due to a business commitment, but Linda's here, so Linda, raise your hand. All right. I want to thank them both for a job well done. All right, our first speaker is Ken Lickey, the president of the HOA. Ken has been active in the HOA and other areas of our community for many years. He's serving his second term as president of the HOA, and he's going to give you an update on the latest and greatest news from the HOA. Take it away, Ken.
Thanks, Dennis. Raise this up a little bit. Good afternoon, everyone. It's really great to see everyone here, and it's great to be back here at the Kahidi Community Center. I think it's been at least 2 years ago that we were here for our last HOA meeting, and we had a local politicians forum prior to the election. So that's the last time we were here, so it's been quite a long time, so it's good to be back. And it's really great to see such good attendance today. And I haven't looked outside, and maybe some of the attendance, and I don't want to mass exit it right now, but we actually are projecting this on the TV on the patio out here as well. And so somebody can watch this and enjoy adult beverage as well. So no mass exits, okay? As Dennis said, I've been president now for 2 years. This is my second term. And it's been a crazy 2 years, as you can imagine. Trying to run an organization like this, which is built upon face-to-face meetings, and they having going to find other ways of doing what we can do. But we're coming out of it now. So the theme for this meeting today, as Dennis already said, is it's state of Monroe County. And I'm going to borrow upon that and talk about the state of the Homeowners Association of Tellico Village HOA. So, all right. Okay. First off, and we get this question asked a lot, what is the difference between the HOA and the POA? And I'm sure there's people in this room that are thinking the same thing. What is the difference between these two organizations? And basically, the POA runs this place. You can think of them as the government, and they run the amenities, the restaurants, the roads, take care of all these things, and that's where you pay your assessments to. And you are, being a homeowner, you're automatically part of the POA. Now, on the other side of this, HOA is a volunteer organization, 100% voluntary organizations, and it's voluntary. And we're run by volunteers, and we're always looking for more people. But more of that a little later on. Okay. So, the state of the HOA. The state of the HOA, and what's our mission? Our mission is to deliver value to Tellico Village homeowners through informative and engaging programs while promoting social fellowship, civic responsibility, and providing a voice for homeowner concerns. And Dennis has already talked about a number of these things we've done. I'll get a little more detail on those. But they go into two big main areas, and that's social activities and homeowner advocacy. A little hard to see, isn't it, on this slide? But on the social side, we have the monthly socials, which is the second Tuesday of every month at the now it's back at the yacht club, and we have social activities. These are the events we have: theater, going to dinners, all the various things we do fall into the social categories. And I would say January and February, we didn't have any meetings, again, still under the COVID restrictions. In March, we went virtual. Dennis already touched on this. We found a way of having a virtual social, which was never done, all online. In April, live was outside of Tokwa, and we had to have 2 sessions because we had limits on attendance. We had to have 2 sessions. Then in May, we were live inside at the Yacht Club, again with 2 sessions, the limits on attendance. And in June, fully opened it up. Fully opened it up, so we're back to normal. Now, what we've done this year a little differently is that because we had such a year last year, we weren't meeting each other. We were isolated. We have decided to make socials more fun. Our monthly socials are more fun. Dennis already alluded to it. We have live music. So we may have a short meeting. We'll talk about future events coming up. We've emphasized door prizes, better door prizes, and we have music, live music at each one of these socials. So if you haven't been to a social in a while, try it again. I think you'll really enjoy it. And then social activities. I'll get more into that in a minute, but we tell people about, inform our members through emails, social invites to them, and we also, on Teleco Life, which is the calendar for the whole village, they're all listed on there as well, and you can sign up for that. Now, we're starting to open up more and more activities, and it's been kind of slow going because a lot of venues have been closed. Now they're starting to open up, and we're needing, frankly, more volunteers to run activities. People got used to not doing activities, and now we're needing to do that. Some people aren't comfortable yet doing things. So we're needing more volunteers, and it's a common theme throughout the village. Everybody's looking for more volunteers. But the more volunteers we get, the more activities we can do. That's just pure and simple. And it's not fair to ask the same people to do them all the time either. So that's where we're at there. I'll talk about, now this is a social invite, and for the members, HOA, you'll get this every month. I'm not going to cover this in detail. But it tells you what's coming up on the social coming up, tells you about the events coming up, and it tells you about the other activities, the clubs we have, things like that, and other activities. And you can sign up directly from here. You can link on these links, click on the links, go directly to Teleco Life where you can sign up for these activities. Very easy, very efficient to do it this way. Progress. Where's that going? Oh, there it is. So as I said, we have the social invite emails, and then we have Teleco Life. And those of you who have been on Teleco Life, you can see the calendar over there. It has all the events in the village. Now, it's a lot of events there. If you want to just look at HOA events, there's a tab at the top. Click HOA events. You see just HOA events. Very simple to use. Again, click on it, go right to it, sign up. Very simple. Okay, on the advocacy side, other side of the coin, we have the Voice of the Village emails, which are sent out monthly, or if we have some special event coming up, something special, and Dennis alluded to, last year we did it on the elections, and we did it on the census, and we had a number of them on the elections. So we will, on topics of interest, we will get information out there to you on this. We have open village meetings. This is one. February, we did this, well, Dennis has already covered this, but we had State of Teleco Village, State of Loudoun County. We're doing State of Monroe County now. But importantly, in the fall, we'll have a forum for the POA candidates. There's an election this fall, and we will have another forum, and we'll have the candidates come, and they will speak, and there's opportunity to ask questions to them, hear their viewpoint. And this is what runs the village, is the POA board. So it's an important thing to attend and really meet the candidates and make your vote count, okay? 2 other important activities we have, Neighborhood Watch, and as Dennis already said, Chris Sanders here, who lives in Kahidi, runs that for us. And as Dennis said, he couldn't be here. He's at the University of Colorado today, and he's working on some space program, he said. So he's a very smart guy, I think. But one thing, never use the phrase around him then, it isn't rocket science. Don't use that phrase around him, because I think he's got that, okay? So that's what he works on. And then the Highway Safety Committee, we've already talked about that. That's a joint committee between the HOA and the POA. And they work closely with TDOT, that's the Tennessee Department of Transportation, on a lot of road improvements on Teleco Parkway. And representing Kahidi is Deb Marshall, who's been on the committee since 2018 and doing a really good job representing the interests of Kahidi here. I don't know, is she here today? Oh, back there. Doing a great job. Now, go to the next slide here. Now, probably the best way if you to get help This is an example. I want to make an example of how we worked as an advocacy effort with the POA, and we came up with this new, I'm calling it Advocacy in Action. This is the new help spot, help center. And I don't know if you've used it out here, anybody's used it out here yet, but if you haven't, some people have used it in the back, but if you used it, it really does work. A lot of positive feedback on Nextdoor, which is hard to get. Okay? Hard to get. So it's on the POA homepage. At the bottom is the help spot. So if you have some issue, go there, you put your question in, it'll be recorded, people get back to you, and best of all, at the end, when it's taken care of, they'll actually do a survey, ask you what you thought of the results. And if you rate it negative, they'll find out why you rated that way. It's a really a good thing to have from both homeowners and from the POA. It's a win-win for everybody. So that's that. Okay. And I will say this too. We advocate for the homeowners, but before you come to the HOA, go to the POA first. Okay, it just makes sense to get answers from the people that can take care of it. And if you need help, then come to the HOA. But go to the POA first. Get the facts straight, then come to the HOA, okay? And the last thing on the same page, I'm not sure it was placed here for the same reason, but on the left side of the page is the help spot, and on the right side is the online liquor store. So if you don't like one, you go to the other one, okay? It's both there. Okay. He lives down the street from me, by the way. So just in summary, we're more than just socials. So you're thinking we're all only socials. We're not. We're more than that. We'd ask you to please consider joining, and please consider, if you join, please consider volunteering as well. So that is what I have, and I'll turn it over, and I thank you for your attention.
It's always bad following a tall guy, you know what I mean? Thanks, Ken. Hopefully that gave you all a little bit more insight into the HOA and some of the things that we're doing, as well as opportunities for you to engage with us some more. All right, now we're moving into the meat of our meeting today. Our first speaker will be the mayor of Monroe County. So, Mr. Mayor, all you got to do is do this number there. Okay? All right, and if you can't do it, I can back you up.
Well, first of all, thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Ken, for those remarks. And exactly like what we said, the purpose of this meeting was to come and get educated. And certainly, I learned some things from Ken's presentation. So thank you very much for that and everything that's going on in the village and Kahiti and everything. I just want to start out, first of all, for thanking you for wanting to be a part of a meeting like this, because it's all part of gaining that education, that information, that data, that knowledge, that, that sometimes, what you see on Facebook is just not accurate. So thank you for actually having a passion, a desire to come to meetings like this and get information. Second of all, let me say thank you. It's a privilege and honor to serve you, to serve those that live in the village, live here in Kahiti, in our part of Monroe County. And it's also a privilege and honor to serve with these fine people sitting to my right, Sheriff Jones, Commissioner Summey, Representative Russell. So thank you, folks. It's a privilege and honor to serve with you. So 15 minutes is a short amount of time to tell you about Monroe County, so we've tried to condense it down, and certainly if you've got some questions in the Q&A, we'll take those as well. And I apologize for the print being small. Like I said, we've got a lot going on, but a lot was mentioned about our overall COVID impact in the county and how, especially our health care. And I tell you, I think the number was mentioned. What did you say, Dennis? 490 days or 400 and, yeah, so many days since a group like this has assembled And it almost seems like, we've been in neutral for almost a year and a half, but now we're starting to see some things, some happen and some change. And just to give you a couple of updates here and just kind of recap the COVID situation, and certainly our county, just like every county in the nation, was affected by it. The last data that we calculated along with our health department, approximately 12% of Monroe County tested positive in some shape, form, or fashion of COVID-19. I will give you an update on that third bullet. When I gave the slideshow for the presentation, and that particular day we had 20 cases. Today, I checked before we left the office, we're down to 7 active cases, which is 7 too many, but certainly much better than what we seen over a year ago at this time. Approximately 25,000 doses of vaccine has been given in Monroe County, either by our health department or our healthcare providers at some shape, our pharmacies, and the majority of that has been the Moderna vaccine, second the Pfizer vaccine, and then the Johnson & Johnson product, which, of course, there was some issues. It was off the market for a while and then placed back on. So at the end of the day, when we go to the next slide, before I get to that, so the question that I get a lot is, well, how many folks in Monroe County have been vaccinated? And our recent data, and we meet in our local emergency planning meetings. Now we've gone monthly, but we were meeting weekly over the last year and a half, discussing day-by-day data, our current situation in the COVID issue. It was almost like our disaster, our crisis team that assembled, and it was a very large committee. But as of right now, approximately 30% of Monroe County has received the vaccination in some shape, form, or fashion. We continue to push out our healthcare facilities and our providers the vaccine. We're continuing to encourage and market those who want. I believe, and I truly believe, that it is our liberty and our judgment whether to take the vaccine or not, to wear a mask or not, and certainly we encourage and market, and it's our job as servants of Monroe County just to provide the information. It's not my job to strong-arm anyone, Sheriff Jones, into taking the shot. If he chooses not to, that's his choice not to take it. But it is our job as servants to provide as much credible data and information to you as we possibly can. And I will say this, probably one of the shortfalls in the vaccine distribution, it's almost like we've got, of course, our youth, our adolescent is kind of in a vulnerable position where there's some data, 18 and under, the effects on those individuals. But I guess one of the shortfalls that we've had is our homebound citizens. Those individuals that are 80, 90 years old that are at home, can't go to a doctor, can't go to a pharmacy. Getting someone to take the vaccine to them has been a little bit of a challenge, but we're starting to see some progress in that particular area. Long care health facilities, we've got that covered, but it's those individuals that are at home that we've kind of had some issues with, and that's statewide. That's not just Monroe County. How our local economy has been affected by the pandemic and where our economy is today. If you would have told me a year ago that we would have been in the situation that we are today, I would have laughed. Because 1 year ago, Monroe County was at 23% unemployment. Businesses were closed all across the county, all across the state, all across the nation. Our industries were shutting down. It looked really, really bleak. But here we are a year later, and we've got some great news. As of right now, our unemployment rate is 3.8%. And that's a lot of factors. Certainly people are going back to work. And it's amazing that our economy is booming like it's booming right now, and we'll get into the housing market and the real estate in just a second. Inflation today is about 5%. A month ago, it was 4.16%. A year ago, it was a little over 3%. So obviously, our inflation is going up, but our economy is certainly doing very, very well. I'm very proud of the second bullet up there on the PowerPoint. Since January 1 of this year, this calendar year, we've had 100 new businesses open up in Monroe County. Now, I will tell you, most of them are sole proprietorships, but every single one counts. And many, many more businesses have opened than closed through COVID. Unfortunately, we lost some businesses that could not recover from being closed, and they had to close their doors permanently. But we're very excited about all these new businesses, and certainly we've got some wonderful industrial news that's happening in our county. You're going to see a major announcement on this side of the county within a month, probably, here in the Von Orr area. It's going to bring many, many jobs. Of course, you've been well aware of the Red Stag project over in Sweetwater. We're moving dirt on that project, so that is happening very, very quickly. And just many good things. Our tourism is booming. That was one of the things that when a lot of our businesses across the nation and a lot of our our entertainment venues were theme parks and zoos and all those type things were shut down. It's unbelievable how many people came to Monroe County during that time to enjoy our natural beauty, our lakes, our rivers, our streams, our mountains, all those type things. And our tourism actually boomed approximately 77%. I will tell you this, as far as our sales tax, you're going to see that I highlighted it up here. Our sales tax over the last year and a half has went up exponentially, primarily due, and we will take, and I guess this is one of the positive things of COVID, it's because so many people were at home purchasing items from Amazon and places like that, online shopping at Walmart. How many people did Walmart pick up during COVID in here? Anybody? Well, all those top things that were happening, our sales tax revenue exploded, but especially our internet sales tax exploded. Approximately gave us a shot in the arm of about 22%. So if you compare our sales tax numbers today compared to this time last year, we've got $1 million more in sales tax revenue than what we had this time last year. And a lot of that is attributed to internet sales tax. The influx of newcomers impacting our county, I've never seen anything like it, which is great. We have seen the real estate market boom, the housing market boom. We've seen so many people come in and take interest, just like what you're doing in local nonprofit organizations and interest groups and things like that. The housing market, like I said, it's unbelievable. I have never seen people buy Tommy houses sight unseen over the phone, over the internet, and things like that. It's been amazing. Our real estate market and our housing market is through the roof. The standard of living in Monroe County, it's changed over the last year. Certainly, we touched on that. Our unemployment is down. Sales tax is up. How our local government tax dollars are spent. That's an outstanding question. And certainly, we have approximately about a $95 million budget in Monroe County. Half of that budget is the school system's budget. So roughly about $45 million goes to the school system. So the rest of that pie, if you think about our budget as a pie, slices of pie, it goes what we call county general fund. That is everything. That is every elected official's department. That is the sheriff department and the jail, the highway department and his people, his crew, my 15 departments that fall under me. So there's a big piece of pie, and it ranges everywhere from solid waste to ambulance to the animal shelter and all things included. So that is where our tax dollars go. So about half of it to the school system, half of it goes to the general fund budget. Educating our students during a challenging climate, in a current climate. And I'm certainly not going to speak for the director of schools, Dr. Windsor, but certainly Dr. Windsor is doing an outstanding job. And I will say this, the Board of Education in Monroe County School System, along with Sweetwater City School System, did an outstanding job during the pandemic as far as being flexible, being creative, doing everything that they could possibly do to educate our students. Was it the best possible situation? No. Was it perfect? No. Because I'm a former educator. I'm married to an educator. I had to hear every day about, well, I've got to do 4 different presentations because I've got brick and mortar students, I've got online students, I've got this group of students, and so on. And the county, along with some of our CARES money that we received, we really invested in technology. We worked and we partnered, the county partnered with Fort Loudon and some of our other utility providers, and to making sure there was as much internet to our students' home as possible. And you know what? Those that didn't have internet access, we even at the mayor's office, we printed off those packets and handouts. The school system would bring me reams of paper, and we'd print those off. So we did everything that we could possibly do to partner and share. And in places and in individual groups like the Boys and Girls Club, they came along and really did some programs and things, and we tried to do as much as we could with the school nutrition programs, everything that we could possibly do to assist our students, our teachers, our parents, and getting some education, at least moving the ball down the field to make sure that that student, when they come back this next August, that they're not that far behind. So I really applaud our school system and everyone that partnered together to assisting our students. Environmental challenges that face the county. I tell you what, probably the worst part, and I bet the sheriff receives these calls as well, it's litter. Guys, my goodness. You know, I can be at a Friday night high school football game, and there'll be a garbage can right there, and somebody will throw whatever down right beside of it. And unfortunately, that's just the world that we live in. We have 790 miles of county roads in Monroe County. That's not counting state roads. That's not counting interstate. That's just county roads. And we try the very best we could do to get those roads picked up, including those state roads. So that's a challenge. It's a challenge for the sheriff. It's a challenge in the judicial system, because when someone litters, you have to prove that they littered. You can even find in their mail an envelope out there on the side of the road with, you know, their information on it. Judge is going to kick it out. You've got to prove that they placed it there. The burden of proof is on us. So that's one of our biggest environmental challenges. And the judges in the judicial system, they're handicapped as well. Certainly, we work with our local Keep Monroe Beautiful. And I challenge you, if you're looking for another organization to get involved in, Keep Monroe Beautiful is a great organization. They're changing some leadership now in our county, and I know the county commission donates to that group, and part of that position comes out of our office to work with. And so the litter crew that you see, we receive a grant to do that. I would love to have 5 more litter crews. I could put them to work every day, Sheriff, and you know how that is. But that's our biggest challenge environmentally is the litter on the side of the road. So it's very frustrating, and unfortunately, I'll be flat honest with you, during COVID, no fault of the sheriff at all, you know, we didn't have those inmates, those trustees to do that. Okay, they needed to be where they needed to be, and that was in the Justice Center for their safety and their protection. and the sheriff's staff safety and protection, we got really behind. These roads got a mess. But when we were allowed to have those inmates, and there's some counties, I was talking to the mayor and the sheriff in Hamlin County, they still don't have inmates out in public yet doing those type things. So thank you, Tommy, for allowing us to, I don't know if we're caught up yet, but we're certainly making a dent in it. And thank you for your patience on that. Animal shelter. I'm certain that there will probably be some discussion on this later. And most of you that know me know that I'm straightforward, transparent, and just get right to the chase. We've been working very, very hard to improve the animal shelter, along with Paulette's done a wonderful job supporting us on this effort. The animal shelter is an old facility. It was never meant to be an animal shelter. It's an old vet clinic, an old large animal vet clinic, not even a small animal vet clinic. So we've got some challenges out there. In the past several months, McFaul, Monroe County Friends of the Animals, and myself, granted permission by the county commission, has tried to partner where that animal shelter actually would be ran by McFaul, along with building a new shelter in the meantime, and the county would fund part of that, just like any other nonprofit organizations. Well, and Paulette could probably tell you, the first time that we presented the idea, we only got about 30% of the vote. And this Tuesday, we didn't exactly get what we wanted, but we're a lot closer. We're one vote short of making that happen. And I think last night I came out of church, actually, and I had a couple of calls from Channel 6 News, and I told that reporter, I said, we're not giving up. We intend to make this work, and we're going back to the drawing table for that, because I know Paulette will say the same thing. I cherish McFaul's partnership and what they do for the animals of Monroe County and the taxpayers. Some of you are volunteers that are sitting in this room, and I thank you for that. I thank you for what you do. So it has been a challenge lately, and we're continuing to move forward, and I'm still optimistic about it. I really am. Asian carp, at many of your requests in here that presented by county commission, and we know the issue here with the Asian carp in the county along Tellico Lake and all over Tennessee, and we passed that resolution, and we sent that to Nashville, we sent it to Washington, and I believe, if memory serves me correctly, Lowell, I think it was like September 23rd of last year, the governor commissioned a committee that ranges from the Army Corps of Engineers, TWRA, TVA, Economic Development, Tourism, the Department of Agriculture, to really fine-tune and take hold of this, and I know they've had several meetings. So because of your effort and your voices that came to us to take to Nashville, that has actually progressed and moved forward. How can you assist? I think I mentioned it a little bit with Keep Monroe Beautiful, the animal shelter. I tell you what, if we depend on government to help everyone out, we're in trouble. And I'm saying that as a mayor. It takes the citizens to help. We have got so many wonderful nonprofit organizations. And as a county commissioner, former county commissioner, Paulette's a current county commissioner, we can't support everyone. We would love to. We would love to write them all a check, wouldn't we, Paulette? Every single one of them. That's where you come in. That's where your expertise and your professions from the medical field, being pilots, accountants, attorneys, all those things that you bring to the table can help these organizations. Small businesses, charities, everything. You've already become familiar with your county commissioner, Paulette, as far as different needs in the county. So I encourage you, take a hold of one of these organizations, these nonprofits, volunteer. Doesn't have to be monetary support. Volunteer. Go in and answer the phone from time to time, whatever it takes. Of course, here's my information. My office door is always open when I'm not in meetings. Of course, the last year and a half, Dennis, I've had more Zoom meetings than I'd ever care to have in my life, and I don't care if I have another one. Sometimes I enjoy going to those meetings, but certainly when I'm there, my door is always open. My telephone line is always open. I respond probably to email quicker than anything because I have to go in at 6 o'clock in the morning to answer emails before phone starts ringing, you know. So certainly we have an open line of communication, and you're certainly welcome to come by and visit, chat, call anytime. Again, thank you for your dedication and passion. Dennis.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. That was just amazing, all the content that you got covered, and you were right on time with your 15 minutes, so keep that in mind, folks. All right, our next speaker is the Monroe County Sheriff, Tommy Jones, and I believe he has a few of his folks with us, and is going to give us an update on what's happening there. Thanks, Tommy. You don't have any?
No, I'm good. Thank you, Dennis, Ken, Mr. Mayor. Great job. Guys, I appreciate all of you being here. This is a beautiful day, beautiful neighborhood, and here you sit, looking at us. So thank you for coming. We do appreciate it. Like the mayor said, this past year has been very challenging on everyone. We've had to shut down every work program that we had, people that went out to work. At one time, I worked for the mayor's office, and I was the solid waste deputy. So I was the guy that took the inmates out to pick up trash every day. We averaged about 10 miles a day is what we could do, and that was pushing those guys really, really hard. But they enjoy being out, the inmates do. With that being said, I think if we had 5 or 6 crews going, it would be very challenging to keep up with the amount of trash to pick up in Monroe County. Everyone tries their best. You know, the mayor's office, the commission, myself, and these guys are great to work with. I couldn't ask for anyone better. Honestly, I don't have a whole lot to say to you guys, so mine won't take 15 minutes. Kahiti is a very quiet neighborhood. As most of you know, I'm not only your sheriff, I'm your neighbor also. And it's been an honor and privilege of being both. So I do appreciate all of you guys. The last year, I moved into Kahiti, and the crime comes with me, because we have very few calls in this neighborhood. Well, last year, as you all know, we had 24 thefts from the boat docks. So I was assuming I was going to see a large crowd outside my home asking me to leave. Please go back to where you came from. But that was Detective Jason Filial, Detective Dan Snyder. Those guys were involved in those investigations. Jason was the lead investigator on it. There was 3 arrests made, 1 being a juvenile, 2 being adults, and all 3 pled guilty to those crimes. So outside of that, 2020, we had 4 other calls in this area, and most of those were false alarm calls and things such as that. So what I would like, and myself and Chris, and unfortunately he couldn't be here tonight, like Dennis said, he had to be out of state traveling. I was surprised, shocked when he told me what he's actually doing. I was, man, yeah, this is something. Anyways, the Neighborhood Watch program, we really need a Neighborhood Watch program here. Now, where you guys play a big role is the volunteer side of it. We need someone at the sheriff's office. We can provide you with the training and knowledge and assistance that you need, but we need someone here to head up the program. I've got a deputy that's already volunteered to be a liaison between the whoever's running the Neighborhood Watch program and us. The signage, things such as that, we can provide. And like I said, with the training, we can do it here, or we can do it at the Justice Center, wherever y'all would like to have it. But at the same time, it takes volunteers. Loudoun County has a really good program on the COPS program and Neighborhood Watch in the village. Sheriff Guider and myself have talked several times about it, and he's willing to give us his guys to train our guys. I mean, we are neighboring counties, and if you guys have noticed, when you go down 72 West, you go in and out of Monroe and Loudoun like 4 times, I think, in 50 yards. I've never understood that, but it is what it is. So, but those guys, Jimmy Davis, same way. Those guys are great to work with, and they've offered that assistance to us to start that program and to do the training here. But afterwards, if any of you guys want to get with me, talk to me, I'm happy to take your name, number, or if you want to come by the office and see us there, that's fine also. Now, outside of this area, we do have a drug pandemic, a drug problem. Heroin has came back into this area big time. At one time, us and McMinn County ran I can't say competition, but we were neck to neck as far as the top county in the state of Tennessee for methamphetamine. That was many years ago. Meth labs have really became a thing of past. Now it's easier for someone to go and purchase the finished product, bring it home, use it, sell it, do what they're doing, rather than cooking meth. The heroin and fentanyl is really an issue for us. Our overdose rates have went up. These guys think that they're buying heroin, and they're not. They're buying carfentanil, which is very dangerous. And that's where you see a lot of overdoses if you're paying attention to the local news, and that's sad. It's really a shame. So, most of our dealers we see, they don't use drugs; they sell drugs. So our addicts, the people that we need into rehab centers, different places, are the ones that we see dying. Currently today we have 283 inmates. One thing, Mayor, you did not mention, and I'm glad to bring this up. This is a joint effort, a total joint effort of the county commission, the mayor's office, every one of us. When I came into office, the sheriff's office, the jail, was under a plan of action from Tennessee Correction Institute and was facing decertification. It was only a few days before it would have been decertified, which opens the county. One of the biggest liabilities that we have in Monroe County, in any county, is the jail. Big liability. Housing all of those prisoners, all those inmates. And without being certified by the state of Tennessee, it just enhances that liability on the county and on you guys as taxpayers. Because when reality is what it is, you pay our salaries and you also foot the bills on these lawsuits. So we try our best to keep them down. Now, saying that to say this, in 2012 is when, June the 6th, 2012, is when the jail went under a plan of action. I was appointed to the office of sheriff in December 2014. Shortly after, we satisfied what the state required to keep from being decertified. Now, through the construction of the new Justice Center, moving over and opening the new jail, I think we moved in April of last year, March, April last year. We have now, as of June the 9th of this year, completed and met every standard that Tennessee Correction Institute requires. So we are now fully certified, and it's taken many, many years to do that. A lot of hard work from everyone, us, the commission, and the mayor's office, to get to where we are today. And I know that is probably doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people, but to us it means a whole lot, because there are a lot of standards to meet daily. And our staff has done a really good job doing that. So there again, these guys have been a big part of it, and I really appreciate what they've done. TCI, Tennessee Correction Institute, they are the inspectors. They're the ones that says that we can open or shut us down or do every what, but those guys also have been very, very great to work with, very lenient in some areas, I guess. So, guys, I guess I'm a lot better answering questions than I'm standing here talking. So I'm pretty much done, and I appreciate you again. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Sheriff. I know we were all really pleased when we heard you were moving here because we felt you'd add another level of safety to and security to our neighborhood. So hopefully things are going to get a little bit better. All right. Well, I forgot my little. Okay. Oops. Our next speaker is Commissioner Paulette. Summy, I believe I mispronounced your name earlier, and I apologize for that.
Sum of money and me.
I'll never forget it again. All right. Madam Commissioner,
My
it's all
husband
yours.
hates that. Thank you so much, Dennis, for allowing me to come, and thank you, all of you in Kahiti. You're an important part. My husband was mayor of Von Orr when the Cooper community came and said, we want to build a village. And they went out to Hot Springs, Arkansas, and saw what was there, liked what they saw, and he and the county mayor at that time, Charles Wilkins, petitioned the state, and were in Nashville quite a bit to make sure you folks were here. As county commissioner, I not only represent the people in the town of Von Orr, my district goes below Lakeside. If you're familiar with Charlie Hall's store, it goes down past there in one area to the Loudoun County line, and it goes almost to Wooldridge, the old Wooldridge store, and then across the lake it goes up Highway 72. And here again, the county goes in and out Monroe County and Blount County. And that's something that I wanted you to know. It's not just the town of Von Orr. But information about the town of Von Orr, I grew up in Von Orr. My mom and dad had lived on a farm, and they moved to the big town of Von Orr when I was 4 years old. So I've been here all my life, except for the time when I got married, moved to the Atlanta area, worked in downtown Atlanta as a loan officer for a mortgage company. But didn't want to stay in Atlanta, thank goodness. I wanted to come back home. So did my husband. So we came back home and moved into the town of Von Orr. My parents' house is still here, and we love Monroe County. It's some just brief facts. Population of Von Orr right now is, okay. Am I moving it the right way? No? Okay, population. 1,551 people, with the new numbers coming out. And we won't get those numbers, by the way, until October. The mayor has appointed a redistricting committee. I will be on that committee, and I hope to make sure that we get involved in everything. And the mayor has been very gracious of keeping me informed in all the things that are going on with our end of the county. There are 10 county commissioners. The other 3 districts, 1st District, Sweetwater, 2nd District, Madisonville, 3rd District, Tellico Plains, have 3 county commissioners. We have 1. But we didn't even have a district until 10 years ago. So we do have representation, and because I grew up here, I feel like I'm going to fight till the sun goes down, and the mayor knows that. I don't give up. But Von Orr, they have the fire, police, public works, city hall, and library. I am the director of the Von Orr Friends of the Von Orr Public Library. Library is very important. We need your help. We have directors that have passed away. We have one of your own people right now, Don Hageman, is still battling COVID, and he's our treasurer. So we need help in the Friends of the Von Orr Public Library. One of the things people had asked for was the website, and I went to the mayor, the new mayor. As you know, Bob Lovingood, the elected mayor, has passed away with COVID. John Hammondtree is your new mayor, and the website was updated about a year ago, and you can go to the old website and they have a link to the new website. So just think about that. But Von Orr appreciates everything that all of you do as volunteers, and it's so important. County Commission report, we've had $4.4 million in grants for the airport. I think it's a little bit more than that now. Something about the airport, I am 100% behind it. Those guys, if you don't know, in 2019, Monroe County was voted the #1 airport in the state of Tennessee. Now that's something good. In 2020, our airport manager was voted the most efficient in the state of Tennessee. He was the airport manager, and that's Tom McCosh. If you haven't been there, he's a great person, and he's welcoming all the time. So if you're a pilot, please go. Those folks are really good out there. And to have seen the airport when I started work at the county in 2010, there was a gentleman that was using it as his personal workspace, I think. But it's come a long way in 10 years. It really has. We have radios, but I think the sheriff and the mayor have spoken to the radios. The county commission thought it was very important. Monroe County has a hard time reaching out because of our mountains. The beauty you see is the problem we have. Because when those radio waves hit those mountains, they don't always cross over. They might bounce back or whatever. But the sheriff has worked really hard with us as the county commission, and we have funded new radios, and the sheriff is making sure that they go, and our mayor, because it's so important to me that when there's an accident somewhere in Cityco or Tellico Mountains, that somebody get to those people quickly. So the fire departments, they work for everyone's safety. And if you haven't traveled through Monroe County, we have some isolated spots. And there's always people there visiting those isolated spots. So we need radios to be able to get out so that the ambulance or the fire department, whatever, will get there. If you've noticed, we've had fires in some stations. Well, those fires, if they can be reported quickly, can be put out as quickly. But in last Tuesday night, we confirmed Chad Lemming as the new EMA director, and we confirmed Jennifer Benefeld as the director of the Monroe County Animal Shelter. New business is coming to Von Orr. As the mayor has stated, Von Orr is touched on many sides. The county has Niles Ferry Industrial Park. That belongs to the county. The road or the work that you've seen on Highway 411, if you're going north, with the burning of the brush and so forth. That's a project of an individual or a group, and hearsay is that it's probably an RV location. So people, and of course, Sequoia Landing, that's with all the cabins and such, they're expanding. They're changing their description a little bit, and they're hoping to build more cabins and have some other things, but they told me it's a surprise. Here again, some of these things have to be kept quiet for them to move forward, and I hope you understand that. But we're all excited. Sequoia Museum, we keep hearing that the Cherokee Indian Nation wants to do something because this was the birthplace of Sequoia himself. So with the Cherokee Indians, we know that Exit 400 up in Sevier County, they're going to do a major project up there, so that put Monroe County behind again. But they're out to make money, like all of us are. Redistricting, I had already talked about that, and the Friends of the Library. Please join our Friends of the Library. We had one lady, Miss Betty Sparks, that passed away. She was a director. As you know, Mayor Bob Lovingood passed away. It's tough. It really is. But the Friends of the Library raise money to pay for matching grants for the library to buy technical, software, computers, whatever the library needs. That's what we're there for. Right now, they're having a summer reading program, and we've just donated $500 for them to buy what's necessary to hold that summer reading program and have some bonus things for the children. They're getting fishing poles and tackle boxes and fishing lessons, how to fish. Veteran Services, we have a dedicated building in Madisonville. It's the old Sessions Court building, and Andy Boyd is full-time. You can call his office. His phone number is 4865, though, I think, number. But he is a full-time young man, and he loves to help veterans. So if you have any questions, and right now there's a great thing going on. They're trying to find the Korean veterans. They want to give them a medal, and that's from the United States, but you have to apply for that. And information off of your DD 214 would be required. So if any of y'all were in the Korean War, please contact Andy, because it's something that needs, they want to recognize everyone. The dental clinic, we do have a dental clinic. It's in the health department on Highway 68, and they accept anyone. You can have, I've gone in when I had an emergency and couldn't get somewhere else. So feel free to go in. They'll give you a quote. They'll tell you what is needed, and they're open Monday through Friday. Christy is over that, and she's an awesome person. Our county commission meetings are at 6 p.m., fourth Tuesday of every month. It's open to the public. We do meet in the old county courthouse building. If you haven't been in the courthouse building, it's beautiful. It really is. If the mayor is there, just go in and look at all the safes. I mean, these are huge walk-in safes that were installed in the courthouse at that time. They're beautiful. I told them if anything ever happened, I wanted one of those doors. My grandson, when I worked for the county, was always afraid of storms. So when I picked him up from school, he would go in between, because from where I sat as the assistant to the county mayor to where the mayor's office, you walk through an old safe entrance. And he would sit in there and say, "Nan, is it gone yet?" So it is a great place and lots of historic value. Von Orr Mayor and Alderman meeting, it's the second Tuesday. But as I said, County Commission and the City Board are totally separate. We're elected officials. All of us are elected by the people that we represent. So as county, we can't tell the town of Von Orr what they have to do. You know, sometimes we'd like to, but it doesn't work that way. And I'm sure they're glad of that too. The Planning Commission meetings is 6 p.m. on the first Tuesday of the month. Whoops. We both hit it. I've already talked about the Friends of the Von Orr Library. Other things, the question was about the lake area. Become a member of the water group. They oversee the clean water, and I have been on that board of directors. And it's an amazing group of people. You meet in Tellico Village, but they do lake cleanup every year, sometime in March. And I see one of the gentlemen that help hand out the trash bags and the grabbers and things that we use to pick up. But it's so important, and the board always needs someone from this area. We've tried to have people because, you know, across the lake we've got Tellico Harbor, Harbor Place, and other Thunder Point. Just right around Von Orr, we've got 6 gated communities. So, and I represent all of you. So please become involved. I know we've all asked for volunteers, but really it is so important. But water is just an amazing group. You would not believe. Crane Island was a project that water had, and just the cleanliness of the water. They do water testing all the time, and they make sure that when things are happening around the lake and they're notified, that they get there. And you have a walking trail that's a 30-mile walking trail. If you go across the lake, turn on East Coast Tellico Parkway, just across the railroad is the Wildcat trailhead. And you can walk for 30 miles if you want to, all the way to the dam in Lenore City, and some of the most beautiful scenery that you have ever seen. But thank you for the opportunity of being here. If you ever have questions, you may have a phone book, you may not, but I've always been listed, and I do answer my phone, and I do answer questions for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Commissioner. Appreciate your continued support of our community and all the work that you do to move things forward. Our final guest speaker of the day is our representative in the Tennessee Legislature in Nashville. Representative Russell, as you probably all know, represents not only Loudoun County, but also Monroe County. When we did our open village meeting for Loudoun County back in May, Representative Russell was a guest speaker there, And after that session, he specifically requested of me that he be given the opportunity to address this group as well. So thank you, sir, for your continued commitment to Tellico Village. And as you all probably know also about Representative Russell, when he's not representing us and our best interest in Nashville, he's a resident here in Monroe, if I'm not mistaken. All right. Ms. Russell, thank you.
Thank you. It is so good to be with y'all here tonight. And he failed to mention when I made that request, I also requested to be last because I knew the most dangerous place to be is between a politician and a microphone. So I'm just kidding. We got some of the best leaders here in Monroe County and also in Loudoun County, and I appreciate every single thing they do. And the work that we do together is just unreal. I enjoy every minute of it. But I drive by here every day. I live right around the corner in Corntassel, so I think about you all every time I drive by, and the concerns that you have are my concerns. In fact, the red light there at 411 in Niles Ferry is a big concern for me, and been working with the Highway Safety Committee and the City of Vonore to get that done, and we're working on funding. And as you all know, a lot of people don't like to pay for things, especially the government. So we are working on that. And the Asian carp, I live on Corntassel, like I said, so on Tellico Lake is a big issue. So we're working with the governor and that committee and TVA and the Army Corps of Engineers. And that's not only challenging, it's frustrating sometimes too, but that's one of my priorities also. One of the first things I got to help with when I came in office in 2019 was a grant for the internet, and we was able to give $1.4 million to TDS, so Kahidi and Vonore has high-speed broadband now, so that was a big win for you all, so I was honored to work on that. Currently, the House of Representatives has 73 Republicans, 26 Democrats. We consist of 99 members, and I will assure you that Tennessee currently is thriving. In fact, this past year we started out with a special session on education to deal with some of the education things, but I'll go with that in a second. I do want to talk to you about Tennessee's thriving because we're only one of 7 states in the entire nation with a positive economic growth over the past year. Tennessee is number 1 in advanced industry job growth. We have the lowest state debt per capita. We're the lowest, while maintaining a AAA bond rating and no personal income taxes on the wages, salaries, or retirement income. So it's able to do away with that Hall tax, and we don't have that anymore. Our cost of living is 11.4% below the national average. And site selection ranked us number 1 for workforce development in the South Central region in 2020. And as I said earlier, we began the special session in January on education because this year we had to draw the line in the sand about third graders. They wasn't proficient in reading or math. In fact, 1/3 of our third graders wasn't proficient in reading and math. So as a part of our special session, we passed the Tennessee Literacy Success Act, which requires local school districts to provide foundational literacy skills, instructions through phonics-based instructions, and provide reading interventions and support. It will establish a Tennessee Accelerated Literacy Learning Corps to provide tutoring year-round. The program will prioritize those students who score below the proficiency in reading and math. We also approved $42.9 million in funding for teacher salaries. And then we went into regular session, and that's when we banned instruction of critical race theory in our schools and strengthened the state's standards when it comes to the Civil Rights Act, teaching our kids about the Civil Rights Act and the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution. We worked on the Second Amendment. We passed a historic permitless handgun carry permit bill into law. This bill not only increases Second Amendment freedoms of all law-abiding Tennesseans, it severely punishes those who refuse to abide by our laws by holding them completely accountable through a series of enhancements, and these enhancements include a Class C felony for theft of a firearm, punishable by a minimum mandatory of 180 days in prison, Violent criminals, drug felons, and those who illegally obtain a firearm will now serve 85% of their prison sentence if they are convicted. And then we went into work on safer communities. We balanced the scales of justice by passing both criminal justice reform and truth in sentencing legislation. Through the governor's criminal justice reform measures, we are providing support for those striving to successfully re-enter society. At the same time, truth in sentencing mandates 100% of sentences for crimes historically targeting women and children. When a judge or jury hands down a sentence, offenders will serve the entire sentence. Parole will not be an option, so simply put, you do the crime, you do the time. We preserve Tennessee's election integrity by enhancing transparency within the election finance, while also further reducing instances of fraud. We approved legislation requiring a process for approval for all grant dollars offered by major corporations to election offices in Tennessee. The Election Integrity Act enhances the verification process for all absentee ballots through a double verification process. Now all absentee ballots in Tennessee will not only require a signature, but a unique watermark. The 2021-22 budget is a $42.6 billion budget, a true balanced budget that not only cuts taxes, but also one that secures the state pension funding, saves for a future, and keeps Tennessee a low-debt state. Key investments includes a $250 million investment in the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System, which will honor existing obligations. A 1-week sales tax holiday from July the 30th through August the 5th coming up, which is a $50 million investment to support both the hospitality and grocery industries, which both of them were hit hard during the pandemic. Approximately $225 million will provide an additional salary increase for the state's educators and employees. The largest one-time investment ever, $100 million to support broadband expansion to every Tennessean has the option to access high-speed broadband services at work, at school, and at home. We also dedicated $100 million to all of our cities and counties. These funds can be used at the discretion of our local leaders who best understand needs within their respected communities. We have provided $250 million for K-12 Mental Health Trust Fund for services and support for school-age students through a system-wide evidence-based approach. We focused a little on health care. We continue to transform health care in Tennessee through patient-centered solutions that increase accessibility and quality while promoting affordability of services. We entered into a shared savings plan, which gives Tennessee flexibility to have a TennCare program for Tennesseans designed by Tennesseans, not D.C. bureaucrats. The waiver agreement between the state and the federal Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services focus on improving overall health outcomes, not just providing health care. It rewards Tennessee for its efficient physical management by enabling us to keep a share of savings that historically went back to Washington, D.C. This will enable us to keep a share of those savings which can be reinvested into the program for enhancements or additional services in maternal health, needy populations, and limiting the wait for Department of Intellectual Disability Services and other state-specific health crises. We worked on Pharmacy Benefit Manager Reform, PBMs as it's known. The Patient Access Choice and Transparency Act addressed the lack of price transparency among PBMs in order to give consumers greater access and choice when managing their health, and ensures Tennessee patients can use pharmacies of their choice rather than being forced to visit insurance monopolies to use specific pharmacies that often don't address patient needs. House Bill 1398 prohibits PBMs from steering patients away from their community pharmacies to PBM-owned pharmacies, which is particularly important to patients with chronic, complex, and rare diseases like multiple sclerosis, cystic fibrosis, cancer, and ALS. It provides greater transparency to employers who want to gain a better understanding of how their pharmacy benefit expenses are being impacted by spread pricing and rebate retention, which will ultimately impact their premiums. It provides more transparency for patients in real time when they're in the physician's office of what their medications are going to cost. We worked on a certificate of need reform. It removes bureaucratic red tape and additional barriers to entry within the healthcare marketplace to promote competition, improve quality, and lower costs. House Bill 948 reduces and eliminates the certificate of need regulations on certain facilities and services and creates greater regulatory flexibility. It exempts economically distressed counties that currently do not have hospitals from CON regulations, paving the way for new health services in these communities. And of course, we had to work on public safety. We passed House Bill 87 that changes the material that driver's licenses are made of into a fiber-carbon material that will result in driver's licenses being harder to counterfeit. You'll probably see that closer next time y'all renew. A big win for our volunteer firefighters this year. We will give those men and women $600 for completing their mandatory yearly training that they currently do for free. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just a highlight of 2021. If I can answer any questions later, I'd be honored to. Thank you all so much for having me.
Representative Russell, thank you so much for those words and filling us in on what's going on in Nashville, and also for your continued level of support here for the Tellico Village community and being so accessible to us. All right. Now for the fun part, Q&A. All right. So for the Q&A session, what we'd like for you to do, we've got a very limited amount of time. And what we'd like for you to do, if you have a question, just step up to the mic and you can queue up behind some person if you need to. We ask that you only ask one question per person, and if possible, direct that question to an individual, but if it was an open question, that would be fine as well. And we also ask that you only ask questions. This is not the time to state your personal opinion about something or to pontificate about one of your favorite subjects. And then I would like to ask to please respect the moderator's instructions during the session. That's me. So if I start going like this, okay, we ask that you wrap it up. All right, with that, do we have any questions? Please step up. And also, if you would, state your name, please. Need the mic.
Ed Grolleman, Lord Russell, how can we help you get the traffic light here on 411? What can we do to help you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm worried about the damn mic. They're worried about us.
So for those watching on the internet, the question was how can Kahidi helped me to get the traffic light at 411 and Niles Ferry Road, and pray really, really hard.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Right now, just coordinate with your Highway Safety Committee, express your concerns, and I'm working close with them. And of course, the city of Von Orr, if you talk to any of the aldermen or the mayor, express to them how important it is. We've done a traffic count. The traffic count says we need a red light. We just got to put in certain things as the lanes, traffic lanes first. TDOT's got like a list of prerequisites that we have to have in place, like the wider the intersection, the lanes, and that nature. And I will tell you this, I forgot to mention a while ago, we did get approval for a turn signal at 411 and 360. And TDOT's version of starting that in mine's a lot different. They told me they was going to start at March the 26th, so March the 27th, I went up there and looked, and there's not one. So first thing I do is get a hold of TDOT, and they said, well, we started on March the 26th, but our starting, it means we send it out for bid. So hopefully in the next, so That's frustrating. You know, the wheels of government turn slow, and sometimes you wonder if they're even turning at all. But we are working on it. If you talk to the mayor of Von Orr, the alderman sort of expressed that, and of course, make sure you follow the Highway Safety Committee of the village, and they'll keep you up to date too.
So by going to the Von Orr board meeting would be a good thing to show our support
I
for
would
that.
recommend that. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you for all being here, and this very nice that this was put on here. If I ask a question, are you going to take down my name? Elmer Fudd. My question is for the mayor. And you had listed a number of percentages in that regarding vaccinations or those that had COVID. What is our population of Monroe County? I know there's a census that will be finished, but what is the population of the county?
That's an outstanding question, and I started to mention that in the presentation. The reason I didn't mention our true census data at a county level, we're not going to officially receive that till later on this summer. I know we have received that data at the state level, which the state of Tennessee, I believe, is about 6.8 million. The preliminary numbers that we have are about 47,000. You know, there were a lot of rumors and projections that maybe we jumped over 50,000 for the census, but that is not the case. Unfortunately, COVID really affected the census collection. We only had about a 65% response rate, and so it looks like the numbers are going to be around 47,000.
Thank you. It's Wayne Schroeder. It's not Elmer.
We need your tag number as well. I'll give it to the sheriff.
Hi there, I'm Teresa Hale, and I'm a relatively new resident at Kahiti. It's a beautiful, beautiful place, and the trash is very unsightly, and it bothers me every time I drive anywhere in Monroe County. But my question is there a way that we can eliminate the political signs? Because I think that contributes to an unsightly trash issue.
I know it would save the four of us a lot of money if we could do away with the signs, but no, to answer your question, certainly it is a very unappealing sight, especially at a beautiful entrance like Kahiti. At different levels, at the city level, at the county level, at the state level, we have things called easements and right-of-ways. And it depends on where you're located. The city ordinances or the county ordinances or so have sign ordinances. Well, typically it is very difficult to put a sign in the easement of the right-of-way on a state right-of-way. Those TDOT trucks will come by, because I've lost a few myself, will come by and jerk them up. And the cities have some ordinances itself. I will explain, there is no city or county ordinance for signs. So what my recommendation would be to get with a member of the Planning Commission and voice your issues, and the Planning Commission would therefore take an ordinance to the County Commission to consider. So that's how that would be addressed. But certainly I agree, and it's not only the political signs, and I'm certainly all about free market and everything, but these what I call sniper internet signs that are just on trees on the side of the road and things like that, those are an issue for me as well. So great question. It would start at the Planning Commission on any level, the city or the county level, and it would move up the chain from there. But great question.
Other questions? This is an awful quiet group.
Hi, I'm Nancy Gall, and I'm not sure who to direct this to. but just wondering if you can lend any insight on the commission 5-5 vote on the McFaul proposal.
As your 4th District County Commissioner, I have been on the Animal Shelter Committee. I have worked very closely with everyone. I think it's very important. As the mayor stated before, the first time we had the vote, we had 3, I think, commissioners that voted for. Tuesday night, we had a 5-5 vote, so we've gained 2. We are improving, we really are. Each time that this comes up, I usually make the motions to move forward. And everybody on the county commission know how I feel. It's so important because our fur babies are important. I don't care if it's a cat, a dog, a squirrel, whatever you have as a pet. It's the reason that one commissioner stated was he hated to give only $30,000 toward the elderly of the county and commit almost $200,000 to animals. I don't know. I would love to give everybody money. I support the Homeless Coalition of Monroe County. The church that I go to, Von Orr Baptist Church, we have 20 local missions that we donate $250 a month to. And I'm on that committee as well because I think it's so important to help people. But it takes time to get people to understand feral animals on the streets. I can imagine what our sheriff would have to do if he was chasing dogs and cats the way some have in the past. But we're working, and the mayor is helping. But with every single committee that does meet, the mayor can't show up at all of our meetings. He has, and he has been in negotiations with McFaul. And this was an agreement we thought would pass. All we needed was one more vote. But we're still working. And please know that every time it comes up, I will make that motion. I will.
My name is Rachel Cohn. I've been a McFaul volunteer as long as I've been here. And my question is, how is a 5-5 vote a no? My understanding was we have 10 commissioners. If it's a tie, I thought it was the mayor that decides the decision. How does that work?
The mayor can only break the tie if he's the chair of the county commission. I'm not the chair of the county commission. One of the elected county commissioners is the chair. So in parliamentary procedure, a tie vote is a fail vote. It takes, in our particular board, since there's 10 members, it takes 6 for majority, 7 for 2/3. So that is the situation. In years past, mayors have served as chair, and when in that situation, the only time the mayor can vote is to make or break a tie. But certainly, if I would have been in the chair on that night, I would have voted in favor. There's no doubt.
Okay. Could I ask one more question? I know I'm supposed to ask. Could we take the commissioners on a tour, take them to Loudoun County Shelter, and then take them to our shelter? We don't have to say any more.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Any other questions? Oh, well, I got a few from next door I wanted to pull out and bring up. All right, no more questions? Sure. Absolutely.
If any of y'all have interest in Baltimore, we've got a great museum downtown beside City Hall. I invite y'all to stop by and see it. Thank you.
All right, if there's no more questions, what I'd like to do is just very briefly thank all of those who made today happen. First of all, we want to extend our deepest appreciation to the speakers today, taking a lot of time out of your busy schedules. I feel the information that you provided today was very rich in content and very helpful to the community, and we're very pleased to have you working on our behalf. We also want to express our appreciation to the folks that work behind the scenes. As you all probably know, these things don't just happen by accident. So from Kahidi, several folks, Carla Johnson, Nancy Adams, Bruce Polanski, Ed Grolman, and Angie Day, who runs the beverage and food facility here. The Teleco Village Broadcasting folks, the main man behind the scenes is Kevin Critch. Kevin, raise your hand if you don't mind. He's the guy who runs TVB, and they've got some exciting plans ahead, so stay tuned. We also have Tom, Greg, John, and Linda Parker, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, but she was supporting behind the scenes. And then finally, the folks from the HOA. I want to thank my boss, Ken, Mark Pantley, who is the Vice President of Advocacy, Linda Garza, we mentioned earlier, and Chris, Barb Burke, who I don't know if she's here in the room, but she's out there in the pavilion trying to lasso some people and bring in some more members, and Jim Noonan, who's our photographer, and then George Curran, who's definitely a guy behind the scenes. He's the one who's responsible for all of our advertising and promotion. But most of all, we want to thank you, the audience, for attending. As we said earlier, one of the things the HOA has as a key agenda is to work much more closer with the Kahidi community. We're all in this thing together. We all are part of the community, and we feel there's a lot of things that we need to do a little bit better and work a little bit more closer together, and the HOA hopes to facilitate some of that stuff. We hope that you found today's session very informative and educational. So thank you for participating. Hold it, before you walk out, one more PSA, public service announcement. Our next social is July 13th at the Yacht Club. It's the Frog and Toad Band will be providing the music. So, I'm sorry folks, I can't resist this. Hop off your lily pad, or jump off your lily pad and hop on over to the event. I think you'll have a lot of fun. With that, meeting adjourned. Please join us for cookies and your beverage of choice. Thank you.
Okay, good.
We okay?
That's it.